Welcome everyone to another action figure review, as I have the Bandai Nations SH Figuarts, the Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Son Goku, dubbed as the Games Begin Edition. So a 3.0 Goku is now finally here. So hopefully this will be my definitive version in my collection. Of course, normally the latest, it should be the greatest. And from what I've been seeing in terms of video reviews, photos, and even seeing this figure in person at some Nations displays, I'm definitely sold on this one. So it is dubbed as the Games Begin Edition due to the Cell Saga or the Cell Tournament. And yeah, for a long time, the full power version of Goku has kind of been my main one for the Cell Saga. And if we take a look at the packaging, you can see it's very similar, and even the pose of Goku. So if we take a look at the front of the box, it says dynamic movable shoulder system. So they've implemented some new things. Here's a look at the side of the box as well as the other side. And at the back we have the Goku figure in different poses. So we have the instruction manual on the side of the box. And here is a full look at the Super Saiyan Son Goku inside its packaging. So here's a first look at the figure inside its packaging, as usual, really well presented with the different accessories. So here is the first look at the Super Saiyan Son Goku, the Games Begin Edition. So another version added into my collection, dubbed as, of course, a 3.0 body. So it's meant to be an improved version to the previous ones. So the first look, seeing this in person, I am really impressed by it in terms of the proportions, the colors, the way the body looks. And no doubt this one resembles the Cell Saga version. So in my opinion, the Cell Saga was kind of the peak look for the Dragon Ball characters, and I think they've nailed this look of Goku, whether it's from the anime or the promotional posters. So the only gripe I have about this figure is probably the neck sits a little bit low for me, but it does make him a lot more muscular, I guess. And the other thing I noticed is that you can see that the body, the waist, is very loose. I don't think that's a QC issue. I think it's just the way they built it to make the articulation slightly different. But it would have been nicer to have him slightly more stiff. And other than that, I think the colors really pop. They're very striking with the oranges and the blues. I noticed kind of the waist as well as the arm guards. They're a slightly purple color, so that does make it slightly different. And then if we take a look at the back, you can see looking good, the overall proportions. And also the hair color, of course, this is like the full power version in terms of when he's charged up to fight Cell, because I know in the Cell Saga he's already established as a Super Saiyan, so a lot of the times he did have the off-white color, but this one they do stick with the kind of yellow one. So if we bring in the full power edition, which is for a long time kind of my go-to Super Saiyan Son Goku, so it's still pretty decent for like that friendlier look when he's having his chats with Gohan, but you can see that the new one is a lot more menacing. And if I can bring in the 1.0 version, which is pretty outdated now, but still nice to have in the collection. So this is the difference you can see. So first impressions, no doubt I like the new one. And then if we bring in a legendary Super Saiyan Son Goku, which for me is still one of my favorites in the collection, simply for that battle look. And if we compare it to the new Z Fighter one, which I thought would have been kind of like my final Super Saiyan Goku in the collection, at least for the Z. So yeah, you can see the differences. So this is a nice kind of base form Super Saiyan, should we call it. So I think moving forward to Nations are going to stick to this body, because we know that they're making a base form Goku, as well as some super ones with the God Gokus. So yeah, first impressions, I really like the look of this. The only thing is the neck and the waist could be slightly improved. And now it's time for the articulation, the movement of the Goku, the 3.0 body. So let's start off with the head sculpt. So it moves round and round if you want, 360, side to side. It tilts left and right, downwards really well, and then upwards, even though I do prefer the neck to show slightly more. And the hair is detachable to change the face, which I'll show you later on. And here is the new implementation of the shoulders. So you can see side to side really well, it rotates really well. So this is going to be good for those Kamehameha poses. And they've probably done this on some new Goku or Dragon Ball figures. But I noticed that it does wrap all the way around in terms of his shirt. If you look at the full power one, you can see the gap, which is unrealistic. And of course, even the old ones. Let me see the Z Fighter one as well. It does have that gap, so I do like the way they've done this for the new one. And then we can see for the arms, they have the rotation, and then the arm bend, the rotation on the hands. There should be a hinge, and yeah, this is going to look really good in terms of those dynamic poses. So upwards, backwards, no problems, and stretches backwards and then inwards this much. And then for the body, as I said, it was a bit loose, but it's going to make the articulation a lot more smoother. So backwards, forwards, does create a gap, but you can see the rotation is pretty good as well. So I like this new kind of style to it. And then for the waist, again, no problems in terms of the rotation, and then the crunch as well. Backwards, it does create a slight gap, but of course you can get it in the right pose. And then for the legs, they kick forwards. Backwards, they do slightly. You do need to notice this. It does have to rotate for the leg to go backwards. And then they stretch side to side. It does detach the leg very easily, so just be careful there. And there should be a knee bend, no problems. And then rotation on the foot with a hinge. So yeah, articulation is going to be pretty interesting when I get him in those right poses. But I noticed that it's pretty good around the arms, and of course they've got this kind of rubber material on his outer shirt, which is good for even better movement. So now let's take a look at the different accessories, starting off with the faceplate. So the standard one right out of the packaging is that ready to fight mode. For the first alternative head sculpt, we have the eyes looking to the side with the gritted teeth. For the next faceplate, we have the full power angry face with the open mouth. And for the fourth faceplate, we have the friendly looking Goku, which is always useful in the collection. And one other accessory they've included is a brand new hairstyle for this Goku. So you can see this is the standard edition. And then they've included a new one with a slightly different look to it. So I'm going to place that on. So here is the alternative hairstyle placed onto the same faceplate. So it does have a different style to it. It flows slightly different, and it's great for those battle looks. And here is a look at the other three faceplates with that second hairstyle. And next up, we can take a look at the hand accessories with 5 sets in total, including the ones right out of the packaging with the closed fists. So for the first set of alternative hands, we have the fighting stance style. For the third set of hands, we have the open blaster hands. And for the next set of hands, we have that Kamehameha pose. And for the final set of hands, we have that instant transmission hands, which of course is one of the iconic and emotional scenes in that saga.
Tell her that I had to do this, Gohan. Goodbye, my son.
Now it's time for the size comparison, starting off with the SE Figuarts Son Gokus from the previous lines, with a Super Saiyan 1.0 on the left, as well as the full power Super Saiyan on the right. And here it is next to some more SE Figuarts Super Saiyan Son Gokus, with the legendary Super Saiyan Goku on the left, and the Z Fighter Super Saiyan Goku on the right. And here it is next to a couple of SE Figuarts base form Son Gokus, as well as next to the SE Figuarts Piccolo and Krillin. And here it is standing next to an SE Figuarts Yamcha and Tien. And next to an SE Figuarts Vegeta and Trunks. And here it is next to a couple of SE Figuarts Gohan. As well as an SE Figuarts Battle Mode Gohan and Perfect Cell. And here it is standing next to some other lines with the Mafex The Dark Knight Batman and the Justice League Superman. And here it is standing next to some Marvel Legends with the Amazing Spider-Man and the Wolverine. And finally next to some Jada toys with Ryu and Ken. So now for my final thoughts on the latest SE Figuarts Super Saiyan Son Goku The Games Begin edition. A new era has well and truly begun, as this is a peak Goku to match up with the peak saga. A new look, a new body, surpassing anything we have seen as of now. It's really an amazing sculpt. Presentation wise, it's a nod to not only the anime, but those iconic images we have seen over the years. Accessories, it's got a variety, however it does lack a Kamehameha as well as an aura effect, although that would have made this a definitive version is just the way it is with general releases. I don't really expect them to include them. However, as an alternative hairstyle, I would have liked to see the off-white color. Is this the perfect Super Saiyan Goku? Not yet. They still need to work on some things like the neck and the waist joints, but it is one of the best ones in terms of a base Super Saiyan form. It is a bit unfair, of course, to compare it with the legendary Super Saiyan as well as the C Fighter editions. In my opinion, I do prefer those as a Goku. However, this one feels like it's going to complete the collection of all those looks, and I'm just awaiting on the Fighter of the Rage edition. So my score is a 9 out of 10. It does need the aura effect and the blaster accessories to get the near perfect score, but in terms of a standard Super Saiyan Son Goku, this is probably the best one yet. It is close to the peak Goku from the Cell Saga, kind of like the recent Teen Gohan release, but hopefully they'll get updated versions for a Final Battle Gohan as well as a Perfect Cell. Check out my latest Tamashinations vlogs recently that showed off the Dragon Ball displays, and stay tuned for more and see you over on those videos. Thanks for watching.